Hey everybody, I'm Jack Reeder with Future Pastimes. I'm a designer on the Ikaz and Moritani expansion, which is the third expansion for the Classic Dune board game, the 2019 edition from Gale Force 9. One of the variants in this new expansion is something called Nexus cards. And a Nexus card is a card that you can draw at the end of a Nexus if you are not in an alliance, but some other players are in alliances. Now, each Nexus card has 3 possible effects on it, but only one of them can be played, and it will just depend on which factions are in the game and which faction you are when you draw the card. There's 1 card for each faction, so there's 12 of them, and you use all of them when you're playing. So it doesn't matter which factions you're playing, you use all of the Nexus cards. So the first effect on a card is called the Betrayal effect, and it will cancel an advantage that the faction on the card is using. So this faction would need to be in the game, and this would let you cancel one of the things they do. The second one is called Cunning, and it is if you draw your own. So if this is the Richese card, if you are Richese and you draw this, this is the effect that you could use. Obviously, you don't want to cancel one of your own. And then the Secret Ally effect is if the faction is not in the game. So there's nobody to cancel and it's not you, so that's what you would use. So we are going to do a deep dive on the Richese Nexus card to see what all those different effects are. Each effect is a one-shot effect. So once you play it, you discard it. If you have a Nexus card and you get into an alliance at some other point, you would have to discard it. And if you have a Nexus card and another Nexus occurs and there are alliances at the end of it, you can discard the one that you have to draw another one. So let's start with the Betrayal effect. That is, if Richese is in the game and you have drawn this card and you are not House Richese, that's the effect, the Betrayal one. Cancel a Richese advantage. So this one actually gives you an option. You can either force Richese to discard a Richese Treachery card that they were going to buy. It is discarded and no spice is paid. Or prevent Richese from receiving payment on a card that they sell. The spice goes to the spice bank. So that is in the Emperor still doesn't get that spice. Yeah, that can be pretty harsh. They're all set to get a fat payment on something that they're selling. They're selling the Stone Burner or Null Entropy box, and no, you're not getting any of that spice. So yes, very brutal. Or the other one, like, yeah, great, I'm going to buy the Stone Burner, and maybe I'll give it to my ally or whatever the case may be, but you say, no, you cannot get that card. We're going to put an embargo on there. So the next effect is the Cunning effect. So this is if Richese draws their own Nexus card. Now, there is a rule that if you draw your own Nexus card, you can immediately discard it and draw a different one. And that exists because a couple of these Cunning effects are really only applicable if you're playing Advanced Dune. So this one would work in either. So the Cunning effect here is you may use 2 no-field tokens for a single shipment, still counting it as shipping 1 force. Reveal 1 token immediately to place in front of your shield. Now, you can reveal both of them if you want. And obviously, you probably want to use this with the 5 and the 3 so that you can basically get 8 forces shipped for the price of 1. If you're going into a stronghold, that would only be 1 spice, or you could ship 8 forces into the Polar Sink or some other non-stronghold territory for 2 spice. So still a great deal, but it's not going to be as much if you're using that 0. So yeah, that's nice. And you do have the choice about which of the tokens to reveal if you do only want to reveal one. So you could use it as a bluff where you're using the 0 and the 3 and you reveal the 3 and everyone is expecting that the other one is the 5. But I don't know. That's up to you. Finally, we have the Secret Ally effect. And these are typically supposed to try to mimic what the alliance ability would be if they were actually in the game and they were your ally. In some cases, it is the same effect. In others, it's different. For here, it's pretty close to the same thing. So instead of a normal shipment, you may ship up to 5 of your forces from your reserve as if shipping only 1. So it's like you're getting to use that 5 no-field token from the Richese, which they can do as an alliance ability. And then it's only for the price of 1. So it real cheap shipping on up to 5 forces. Hopefully you're using it for 5 forces, so you're getting the full benefit of that discount. So that is how it works. Each Nexus card is different based on the houses or the other factions in the game. In fact, recently we had a game where somebody did used the Richese Nexus card to prevent Richese from getting payment, and had a big impact, although Richese still ended up winning that game. So maybe it wasn't as big as we were hoping. So if you had a chance to use Nexus cards, let me know what you think of them. Share any interesting stories about their usage. I like to use them now in all the games, especially if I'm playing with an odd number of players or just odd players in general. In a 5-player game, if you have a Nexus, there's always going to be one player who can't be in an alliance. So it is nice to be able to get something out of that. And it may encourage players to not jump into alliances right away, because you're going to have this secret effect that nobody knows which one it is, and it might give you just the boost that you need in order to try to win solo. So that's it for this one, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.